Hi, I am back with another video today, and hold on, I gotta read some of my scripture because God comes first, and then I'll also tell more of Tar Mama. I'll be reading some of the scripture today. How is everyone doing? I hope everyone is doing good today. And if you haven't checked out my other video for breakfast, I have made some blueberry biscuit, turkey sausage, egg and cheese sandwich thingy. It was kind of small, but I had made it because I took cooking classes and everything. I'll be reading some of Psalms. It may be a part where Jesus was preaching. I'm gonna start way back at Psalms 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. Psalms 2. I'm going to read two more chapters. Well, two more. I don't know if it's called chapters in the Bible, but Psalms 2. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, Let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in his sore displeasure. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. I will declare the decree. The Lord hath said unto me, That you art my son, this day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, in the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. That you shall break them with a rod of iron, that you shall dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. Be wise now, therefore, O ye kings, be instructed, ye judges of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry and ye perish from the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are all they that put their trust in him. And one more verse. Pasiomi stage 3. Lord, how are they increased that trouble me? Many are they that rise up against me. Many there be which say of my soul, there is no help for him in God. But, Selah. But that you, O Lord, art a shield for me, my glory and the lifter up of my head. I cried unto the Lord with my voice, and he heard me out of his holy hill, Selah. I lay me down and slept. I awake, for the Lord sustained me. I will not be afraid of 10,000s of people that have set themselves against me round about. Arise, O Lord, save me, O my God, for that you are Lord, forgive me. For that you haste smiting all my enemies upon the cheekbone, that you haste broken the teeth of the ungodly. Salvation belongeth unto the people, thy blessing is upon thy people. So, I read the word of the day, doing a little ASMR for people. If you can't stand ASMR, I'm sorry, but I like ASMR. Let's start with the character list. Like, I added more of my character, Alexis Haywood. I added more of his friends on the list because he have quite many friends. And now I'm gonna add Shelvanya's friends because she got about like 3 friends, like 3 girls that she hang around. Like all 4 of them just hang around together, just like Alexis Haywood hang around with his friends. So yeah, throughout his childhood, he just have gone through that, living there in Rosaline's, aka Mama Rosie's home, and going through the bullying by Nelson Jehoshaphat. If you haven't checked out that video, I suggest you do. You don't have to, but I'll tell about it in that other video. But yeah, he goes through bullying with Nelson Jehoshaphat. This big bully kid that lives in like Mama Rosie's house that pushes around the other kids, but he mainly pushes around Alexis. That's all been told in the other video, but I'm telling more about Alexis and his friends now. Like, they hanging out in the streets, getting into petty crimes. Like one time, the main thing that they liked to do, growing up as children and teenagers, they liked to enter this church. This church that was owned by this man named Pastor Thurgood. And Pastor Thurgood in some way knows one of Alexis' friends. We get into that about how he knows one of Alexis' friends, but Pastor Thurgood, he's a pastor at the church, trying to make sure I ain't get bit by mosquitoes, because the mosquitoes is bad. For the people who live in the South, for a fact that the mosquitoes can be hectic. Yeah, Pastor Thurgood, he's a pastor at the church, and Pastor Thurgood was a pastor at the church, and he somehow know one of Alexis' friends. And that friend, one of Alexis' friends that he know is Wetsuit, aka Gavin Daniels. Through Gavin's family, like, he used to talk to like one of Gavin's aunts and everything. Gavin has a big family, by the way, and the reason why they call him Gavin Wetsuit as well is because he has like a jerry curl. This is like the early 80s now. It's not the 1970s no more, or the 60s, when Alexis and all of them were like little kids. Like, they is young men now. They is young adults. But they was gambling, shooting dice and stuff, and the house of the Lord, aka the church. And it rubbed it Pastor Thurgood the wrong way. Like, he walked it in there and told him, like, you get out, you heathens. Like, you get out of here. Gambling in the house of the Lord and stuff like that. And like, you're gonna go to hell for doing what you're doing and stuff like that. And of course he knew Alexis. He's saying, Alexis, I know your wife. I'm gonna go back and tell her what you're doing and stuff like that. Alexis didn't really say nothing. He just like went back to doing what he was doing, shaking the dice, throwing it on the ground. When he like wins, he'll do like this and stuff like that. And but when Pastor Thurgood came in there saying something, it was nighttime, but the boys was able to see because the moonlight was shining in the church. The moonlight was shining in the church, and of course all of the boys had cursed him out, every last one of them except for Alexis. But the rest of the men had cursed him out, like, why don't you get on up out of here? And Gavin already had knew him, and told him, why don't you go somewhere else and preach that stuff like that. Like, that was, called herself mocking Pastor Thurgood. Thurgood ended up going to Alexis' apartment that he shared with his now wife, Shelvania. He went there, told Shelvania what they was doing and everything. Shelvania hated gambling. She hated gambling. She hated all of that cricket stuff like that, petty crimes and stuff. She did not want her husband, Alexis, to get caught up and getting in trouble and stuff. So when she heard the news, she was hotter than a firecracker. Like, she was pissed off. She was like, well, thank you for letting me know, Pastor Thurgood. And next time when I go in church, I'm going to make sure to bring my tithe money, because I forgot last time, I was short in money. And, Alexis ended up coming in late at night. It was like past 12 o'clock. And he was coming in. And he came in all quiet and easy. He thought Shelvania was asleep, so he came in creeping in, like, walk in, make sure she's asleep, because Shelvania's room is in the back, or their bedroom is in the back, and the bedroom door closed, and didn't see her nowhere in sight. He had no idea, though, that she was standing in the bathroom with the light off. But he walked it in there, creeping real slowly, and he was going in the kitchen, to find him like a quick snack or something with a drink. And as he was bent over in the fridge looking through the fridge, Shelvania had came out the bathroom. And when she came out the bathroom, she had like this cream stuff all over. Like how the women, mostly women, like before they go to bed, they'll have like this white cream stuff all over their face. Especially like way back then. I don't know if they still do it now. They got the silicone mask thing now where they lay on their face for like beauty stuff. But way back then, they put it like cream and stuff on their faces. and they'll do that before going to bed. And Shelvania had all of that white cream on her face. She was already dark skinned, but she had like the white cream all over her face and had her hair put back. Had her hair put back in like she had her hair put back. She had her hair put back in what's it called? The rollers in her hair. And she had the white stuff on her face. But she also, with the rollers in her hair, she also had wore this bonnet thing. And she crept up in the kitchen right behind Alexis without letting him know, and he had no idea that she was behind him. So he was looking through I don't see nothing in here. I guess I'll grab that. And then as soon as he shut the refrigerator door and turned around, he didn't know that she was standing right there. Man, you scared the H out of me. He was scared, and she was like, where you been? Do you realize what time in the morning it is? Where the H you been? You realize what time in the morning it is? Where your A been? Where your narrow A been? I'm Alexis. And Alexis said, I was out with the boys. And stuff like that, telling her as usual. Then she said, well, I heard that you've been doing things that you ain't got no business doing. One of the things better not be with another woman. But I know one of the other things that you've been doing was gambling in the house of the Lord. Is that true or is that not true? Alexis was saying, no, baby, I wasn't, gambling. I had gave that up. He lied right through his teeth. And she was like, well, I heard different. Pastor Thurgood came by here and told me what you guys were doing. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You know how I feel about gambling and da-da-da-da. And Alexis was like, I know how you feel about gambling, but it's a part of my life. I like to shoot dice. I like to hang with my boys. That's relaxation to me. That's therapy to me, and da-da-da-da. And was going back and forth, about gambling and stuff, having a debate talk about it and everything all night long. Till the next, it was next morning, because Alexis ended up getting him, enough sleep, for the next day to get up and go to work. And Shelvania would make breakfast on the usual. She would make breakfast, which of course was bacon and eggs. The usual bacon, eggs, and toast and stuff like that. She would cook pancakes and stuff like that. But I'm going to say she ate more than what Alexis ate, because she was bigger now. She always had a big appetite for a girl. She ate way more than Alexis. Alexis would eat just the toast. He'll just grab him a piece of toast, because he be heading out to work real quickly. He'll give her a kiss and everything. He'll get a toast off of the plate, put it in his mouth. And no, at first he'll get a piece of bacon out of the pan and say, good morning, baby, and kiss her on the cheek. She'll kiss him back, and then he'll grab a piece of toast off of the plate and put it in his mouth. He'll put a piece of toast in his mouth and just rush off to work. Alexis was the type who didn't, mosquito. Alexis was the type who did not, eat a lot of food. He was a slim guy. He ate food now, but he didn't eat as much as Shelvania. She ate way more than him, and she is his wife. She'll make herself 3 or 4 stacks of pancakes, along with a big platter of eggs, a platter of bacon, a platter of sausage links, freaking toast and waffle. She'll make herself a big old platter of breakfast and gobble it all up by herself. Alexis didn't have a problem with that, because he didn't eat that much. He'll just kiss her and head off to work. All right, bye, baby, I'm about to go to work. She'll bye, baby, and that he left out. And it was just the same old thing. After work, when it gets nighttime, Alexis will, get off of work and hang out with his friends again. They'll come together. They'll either go to Ricochet's house together and hang out over there, or they'll go inside a church and gamble together, shoot dice and stuff together. They'll do either one of those things, or either they'll stand out somewhere buying friends. How in the movies it showed all the guys standing together drinking 40 ounces of beers and stuff like that. But Alexis and them wasn't drinking 40 ounces of beer. They were drinking wine and stuff like that together. They wouldn't get pissing drunk, but they'll pass around the wine and share it with one another and just talk about things that guys would talk about. And Ricochet one of the guys, it was it wasn't Ricochet, it was Gavin, aka Wetsuit. In Memphis, it was another guy. I'm gonna name the rest of Alexis' friends as well. Okay, it is I think I already told you about Ramon Calloway, Ricochet, Sonny McCoy, aka Sooty, Lionel Jameson, aka Yellow Cat, and Timothy Wilkes, aka Yeti, Gavin Daniels, aka Wetsuit, Illinois Bankhead, Fat Cat, Donnie Luggins, aka Domino, Zate Kemp, aka Shrimp. That's his nickname. Shrimp is his nickname. Quindon King, aka Memphis, and Yummy Yarbrough, aka Midget Wayne. My bad if midget is an offensive word, but that's his nickname. And they all hung out with each other in the streets. They all hung out with each other, share the same drink out of the glass bottle and everything. Just talk about, the usual. Talk about what guys would talk about on the streets. Just like when Shelvania gets with her girlfriends, they talk about what girlfriends would talk about. And one of the guys, Wetsuit, along with Memphis and Ricochet, they had ended up asking Alexis, like, how is it like having a wife like Shelvania? Like, how can you deal with that every day? And Alexis was like, deal with what? I love my wife. I'm glad that God, I'm glad that I was placed with who I was placed with. I love Shelvania and da da da. And Ricochet like, ain't no way I'll be able to deal with anyone like that. Alexis goes through a lot being married to somebody like her. And Alexis don't like it when they start to try to talk, crap about his wife. It was like Ricochet, why you always saying this and that about Shelvania? What's your issue with her? He's like, I ain't got no issue. The only issue that I have with her is when she say jump, you say how high. Like, you do whatever she want you to do. But when it comes down to you wanting her to do what you want to do, she ain't gonna do it, which is true. Shelvania was definitely like that. She was like, I'm your wife, I'm the queen, you supposed to please me, I don't care about your feelings, and da 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 da. It was basically like that around the early episodes of Tar Mama. Shelvania was definitely like that, but she changed over time. But in the early episodes, she was like that. She did not care or even think about how Alexis felt. That's just the way she was. She always thought like it was a me type of thing. She wanted Alexis to please her. She wanted Alexis to feed her, and again feed her. She wanted him to just treat her like a wife's supposed to be treated. But did she treat him like her husband? It was more like he was her servant. He didn't look at it in that way, but Ricochet did. Ricochet like, this ain't right, man. Like, Alexis is my homeboy. I can't sit back and let him go through that. And the reason why he mentioned that to the rest of them, like Alexis is going through a lot, being married to somebody like Shelvania. It was one day, like one night. It was Ricochet and Ricochet's date. He was going out with a girl. And it was Shelvania and Alexis, four of them, like a double date. They all had went out to the movies. It was like this outdoor movies. Like the outdoor movie theater where everybody sit in their car and watch on this big screen, I think. And they all was sitting in Ricochet's car. Ricochet got this old El Dorado car. Like he keeps that old school car. This like the early 80s. But like he had that car since he was a teenager, since he was like 15 years old. And he had bought that car, with a good deal. He had bought that car when he had finished school and everything. But they always sitting in the car together. Ricochet and his girlfriend were sharing like a drink, with the bendy straw. And Shelvania already had something to drink. And Alexis didn't have nothing to drink. He didn't want nothing to eat or nothing. He was just looking at the movies while having his arm around Shelvania. And Shelvania like, ooh, I'm thirsty again. Like, baby, can you go get me something to drink? And this time, can you bring back some popcorn? And they were like, yeah, sure, baby. I'll get up and get you some popcorn. He got up and got out the car and got her some popcorn. He had to go inside his place to get her some popcorn. He had to walk kind of from a distance and had to go get her some popcorn. He didn't mind doing that. And He came back with her popcorn. She was like, "Thank you, baby." And they were like, "You're welcome." They kissed and they went back to watching the movie. But when Alexis was about to reach in and get some popcorn, she slapped his hand like, "What do you think you're doing?" And then he was like, "I was gonna taste some of your popcorn. Ain't you gonna give me some?" And she was like, "Ugh, here." And like kind of got one out the thing for him. It was this big box, like plastic bowl of pop. Like the cardboard thing of popcorn. Big old thing of it. She got one popcorn out the thing and put it in his mouth like, "Ugh, here. Why you didn't get your own thing?" And they were like, "Well, I was expecting you to share it." She was like, "Share? I told you to go get me some popcorn." And that shot, that kind of shocked at Alexis, but he didn't say nothing about it, like, "Oh, well, you can have the rest of your popcorn. I'm not really wanting a snack anyway. I'm just going to watch this movie." And then she was like, "Good." And she went on ahead and ate the popcorn. But Ricochet was checking it all out. He was just looking over like, she like, he could not stand like how his friend was getting treated. And Ricochet, and then no. Somebody had Shelvania, it was a big sign though, like right behind the screen where they were watching the movies at, and that's where all the food and stuff at, concession stand and all of that. And Shelvania had seen on the sign that they were selling nachos, and she was like, "Ooh, I want some nachos. I want some loaded nachos." And then she looked it over at Alexis like, "Baby, Sugar Plum, can you go get me some nachos?" And Alexis was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll go get you some nachos." He got up without a problem, got out the car, got her some nachos. Ricochet was just shaking his head while sharing the drink with his girlfriend. And they were like, "Baby, you want anything?" She was like, "Nah, I'll just have this drink." His date was, I ain't got a name for his date, but she was like, "Nah, baby, I'm alright. I'll just have this drink." Alexis came back with the nachos. Like, "Thank you, baby." And they were like, "You welcome." And she's like, "I hope you don't want none. Do you want some of this?" And Alexis was like, "Nah, I ain't hungry. Like, you can go ahead and enjoy it, baby." She was like, "Oh, thank you so much." She went on ahead, ate up the nachos while they was watching TV. But while she was eating it, the crunchiness of the chips and stuff like that, she was just slurping and crunching, and it was just getting on, what's his name? It was getting on Ricochet's nerves. Like, he was just over it, like with Shelvania. Like, she was just annoying him in his car. Because I'm going to just say it, around this time, Alexis and Shelvania did not have a car. Alexis most of the time had, rode in his friend's car. Like he rode around. But this time, Shelvania was in the car. And Ricochet was just not happy about this at all, like about the double date. But he did not say nothing. He just was, enjoying, his time with his date. And, after she was done eating the nachos, it was somebody from another car. They had came walking right past Ricochet's car with a glizzy, aka I guess it's like a hot dog. And Shelvania like, "Ooh, that glizzy looks so good." And she looked it over at Alexis, and Alexis kind of cut his eyes at her like, "Let me guess, you want a glizzy too?" They were like, "Yeah." He said, "I thought you just ate a nacho." She said, "That nacho was like a little snack to me. It didn't fill me up. I want me a glizzy, boy." He's like, "Give me a glizzy and refill my drink." And, Alexis kind of, he didn't, like, exactly, like, show her that he was getting tired of running in and out of the car. But, he did ended up stepping out. Like, okay, I'll get you a glizzy. And when he stepped it out again, she was asking for jelly beans and candies and stuff like that. I'm gonna finish the video in the house. So I'm back inside because the mosquitoes are bad. But she had like a glizzy. She already had like a nacho, and then when he got up, like, "Oh yeah, and I want some jelly beans, and I want the chocolate raisins and stuff like that." Like, she wanted it all. And Alexis was just standing there like, and Ricochet was like, like, he would just hated to see his friend going through that. Like, he thinking in his mind like, "I'm glad I ain't married. Couldn't been me." He was just thinking that through his mind, but he didn't say nothing yet. And she asked for a glizzy, and then when he was walking off and about almost away for the car, she was like, "Oh yeah, and give me a cheeseburger too. Like, I want me a cheeseburger." And Alexis looked it back like, "Are you kidding me? You just ate a nachos?" and then asking for a glizzy, and then you want a cheeseburger with the glizzy. Like, he was thinking that in his mind, but he didn't say nothing. Like, okay, honey bunch, and had walked it off. Got her glizzy, got her other cheeseburger, and got her snacks, like the little candies and stuff in the cardboard boxes and all. He got all of that for her. She did not want to share it. You know, Shelvania was just like that in the early episodes of Tar Mama. Like, she did not, want to share none of the food with her husband. And, Ricochet was looking at all of that. And then when she had ate up all her stuff all through when the movie was playing, the movie was like towards the end when she got, done with all the food. Like, she gobbled it up like there's no tomorrow. And then it offered her husband none of it. Alexis' stomach was growling. He was hungry. When she was, about done with her hot dog, I would say it was like a half piece of hot dog left. And Alexis was about to see her, finish that up. She was, eating on the chocolate raisins and stuff. And Alexis was like, "You gonna finish that hot dog?" He ended up asking her that. Why did he ask her that? She got upset and like, "Let me guess, you want it, right? You want it. Why you didn't go up there and get your own glizzy? Why you got to eat the rest of my food and stuff like that?" And she was like, "You know what? Do you want it? You want it?" And picked it up, shoved it in that man's mouth. She shoved the rest of the glizzy up in Alexis' mouth. Alexis had all of that residue and cheese and the stuff from the hot dogs is all around his mouth, like the whole glizzy shoved in his mouth. And she got out the car like in anger because he ate the rest of her hot dog. And Alexis was hungry. He was scared to really ask her for her food because he know that the answer would really be no. But she got upset, shoved the rest of the hot dog in his mouth, and got out the car like in anger. And Ricochet, baby, like he talked to his date, like, "Baby, you able to sit here while me and all my homeboy go somewhere, talk privately?" She was like, "Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure, I'll sit right here." And they kissed, and then he had got out the car and went somewhere and had like a man-to-man talk with Alexis, friend-to-friend talk. Like, "Hey, man, I can't sit back and let you go through that. I got to say something, And Alexis was like, "No, I don't want you to get, between me and my wife. Everything is going good between us." And Ricochet, "You think everything is going good? She got you running back and forth, getting food, not sharing none of the food with you. She's basically bossing you around. Like, who is the husband in the relationship? Is it you or is it her?" And Alexis was like, "Hey, man, you my friend, but be careful with what you say about my wife." And Ricochet, "Man, it couldn't have been me, man. I would not deal with nothing like that. It would be immediate divorce. Like, I'll, divorce her quickly. And she don't share none of that food. The last thing she should be thinking about is a glizzy and a cheeseburger. She need to be thinking about a treadmill." And that's when Alexis was like, "Hey, man, you taking it way too far. Be careful with what you say about my wife. Because if you don't be careful, me and you gonna have it out. It's gonna be a problem." And Ricochet, "I'm just trying to help you out as a friend. I'm trying to be a friend to you. Like, you need to cool it. I'm trying to be a friend to you, and you getting all offended. You getting all offended that I'm speaking up for you as a friend. You letting her run all over you. She got a leash around your neck, and you crawling on all fours like a dog. Like, she's treating you any kind of way, and you just going through it." And Alexis was like, "Well, I guess I'm gonna just let her treat me any kind of way. I love my wife. I'm not gonna say this or that about my wife." And Ricochet said, "You need to divorce her, big ASS. You need to divorce her, A. You need to leave her alone. You need to file the divorce immediately. You need to quit dealing with something like that. And just look at her and look at you. Like, you could go with them. Like, I seen plenty of women out there." And this was Ricochet's telling this to Alexis. "I see plenty of women out there who look far more better than Shelvania. Like, especially with body. Like, she's got all that weight on her, big appetite. She eats for like 3 people. Like, she don't share with you. She's a horrible wife. Like, you need to leave her alone. You need to ditch her." And Alexis, but Alexis had no idea that the whole time when him and his friend were having this exchange of words. And Alexis ended up coming out saying, "Well, when we sleep together, sometimes she'll take all the covers off of me, snatch up all the covers on the bed and leave me freezing. Because where they lived at, of course, I wouldn't exactly say they living in Detroit, but it's somewhere in Michigan. It's like a made up area where I made up, but Michigan, of course, is a real state. I mean, Michigan is Michigan is a real area, but I had made up, the other area. I'll get to the made up area at the end of this video. But, Alexis ended up speaking, not like, I do be kind of going through something, but I don't say nothing about it. I love my wife. I don't be wanting to hurt her. And some nights she be be kind of scaring me. I be forgetting that my wife is in the house. I be thinking that freaking cow had got her loose in the house. That's exactly what Alexis said. Went way too far with saying that, because he had no idea that Shelvania was listening in on their conversation together, and this hurted her deeply. She did not know that Alexis would come out and say something like that, and she definitely was not surprised when Ricochet was saying all of that about her. She already know Ricochet can't stand her. She don't like him. She don't like none of his friends, just like Alexis don't like none of her friends. And when they got home, she got on Alexis' tail. Like, after putting cream on her face, she was silently putting cream on her face before going to bed. And Alexis was like, "Hey baby, what you doing?" And Shelvania was pretending like she couldn't hear her. She was like, "Shelvania, you hear me?" And then she was like, "I hear something." And she went on and rubbed the stuff on her face. I'm like, "What's wrong with you?" And then she said, "What's wrong with me?" She went off on him. She said, "You don't think that I heard what you heard? You don't think that I heard what you said with your stupid friend and stuff like that? That's why I don't like none of your friends coming over my house." It was just an argument. All HE to the double hockey sticks had broken loose. Just a full-blown argument. Like, she mainly was arguing with Alexis, like cursing him out. And it was saying, like, you don't have to worry about sleeping on the bed with me. Since you feel that way about me, your tails are going to sleep on the couch. Better yet, you could go sleep over your friend's house. Go sleep at Ricochet's house, because I'm done with you and stuff like that. This ain't the first time that Shelvania is going to be taking off her wedding ring and throwing it somewhere. She threw it down in the tub in the bathroom, and it almost was an inch away of going down in the drain, but it didn't. You could hear the clicking sound of the ring hitting in the tub, and like, she was just angry with Alexis, and like, "So I see," and then she went down and broke down the tears with the stuff on her face. "I see you tired of looking at your big black fat wife. I see you don't have to worry about ever seeing me again, because you can't sleep in this room no more. You're gonna have to go to your friend's house." And Alexis had to pack up his things that same night and go to Ricochet's house. Ricochet, he had his date over, and him and his date was about to get intimate. That's until Alexis came knocking on the door. He came knocking on the door with his belongings, and Ricochet was telling his date, like, wait there, my love. I gotta answer the door. He was about to pop open, a cheap thing of, drink that he got for the store, like a cheap wine, cheap wine with the screw bottle to it. He was about to open, but he had to go open up the door. He was about to open up the cheap wine bottle, and his date was sitting on the couch. He opened up the door, seen Alexis' face. Like, "Alexis, what you doing here? You supposed to be at home with your wife." Like, "Well, she threw me out, man. I'll explain to you when you let me in." And Ricochet's like, "Man, I got a lady, I got my date in the back." And Alexis like peeked it in his head and spoke to the date like, hey, how you doing?" And he's just like, "Hi." And Ricochet like, "Dang." And he had to let his date go home early, and him and Alexis had a talk. Alexis told about what had happened and what she overheard, and Ricochet like, "Good, she needed to hear it." And he said, "Man, I'm sorry that she had threw you out. You could always crash over here." And he stayed over Ricochet's house for a while until he ended up apologizing. He ended up apologizing. At first, it was the first attempt to apologize. He ended up going to the salon where Shelvania gets her hair done at. And, she was in there getting her hair done by her favorite hairdresser. She was getting her hair done by Dawn. Dawn is like the woman that fixes up her hair. And it was Donna Ruth. but they call her Dawn for short. She was fixing up, Shelvanya's hair and everything. Shelvanya get her hair done with weave and other stuff like that. Like a 1980s type of look hairstyle. Not like the big hairstyle, but Shelvanya hairs are fixed up with like a ponytail and all of that. And Alexis was walking into the salon, and every woman, when he walked in there, every woman was looking at him like he was just a venomous snake. Like they were just looking at him like, had her nose turned like, ugh, what is he doing in here in this salon? And he walked it behind the chair where Shelvanya was sitting there like, Shelvanya, baby, can we talk? And Shelvanya wasn't saying anything. She had her legs crossed and was like this. And the lady was just fixing up her hair and was like chewing the gum and just looking at her like, like she was looking like that. It was like, and then like Alexis was wearing his hat and he took it off. It was like kind of twisting in his hand with like a baseball cap. He said, I'm sorry. I want to apologize for what I had said. What I was saying with my friend, I didn't mean none of that. And Shelvanya still wasn't saying nothing to him. And then he was like, okay, I'm not going to be standing here talking. He started losing his patience. Like, I'm not going to stand here and talk to myself. You're either going to turn around and talk to me, or you're going to either turn around and talk to me, or this marriage is going to be done. I ain't going to keep, coming back. And Shelvanya, once Dawn ended up getting done with her hair, she turned around in the chair, and then she had her arms crossed like, bye. Like, bye, I don't want you. Like, I already threw the ring in the tub. She said, the ring is still sitting in the tub, you bastard. Like, I don't want to continue to be married to you. And then you're like, come on, Shelvanya, why are you doing this to me? And Shelvanya was like, it's over. Like, you just get out of my face and go out of the salon. And then Alexis like, I ain't going nowhere till you hear what I got to say. You're not letting me finish and explain it. And that's when the rest of the women had intervened, because all of the women was like a village up in there. They came up in there surrounding Alexis, like they was gonna attack him like a bunch of predators coming after her prey. And Dawn, that was fixing on Shelvanya's hair, she had like a curling iron in her hand, and it was hot and ready. She was pointing at him like, hey, you're gonna have to get up out of my salon with all of that. If you want to talk to her, you can talk to her someplace else later. She says she don't want to talk to you now. Get out of my salon before it gets ugly. And after she did that, Alexis kind of looking at all the women around him, kind of got kind of scared, and then he was like backing up from the curl line that was in his face, and he got the heck up out of there. But later on, Alexis, he had somehow made his way back in the apartment when Shelvanya wasn't around. Shelvanya was hanging out with her friends. He had made his way in there because he got a key to the apartment. Forgot to mention that. He had a key to the apartment. He made it up in there. He ended up getting the ring out of the tub. And he didn't want his marriage to mess up. He kind of had little tears in his eye. He didn't want his marriage to mess up because he really, truly loved her. Like, that was his childhood sweetheart. He got the ring out of the tub, and he waited for her to come home. He had made like a TV dinner thing with candles and stuff. He had heated up some TV dinners. I'm gonna just be honest. He did not make nothing like homemade, because Alexis wasn't much of a cook. He'll eat whatever Shelvanya is making. The only thing that he got close to cooking was like TV dinners and stuff. And when Shelvanya came in, of course she smelled the TV dinner like, who is cooking in here? Who is in my house? And like, she ended up pulling out her friend, Pew Pew. Because she had a friend. All of her and her sisters carried around pew-pews and knives and stuff like that. Her mama mostly carried around a knife, but her and her sisters carried around pew-pews. And she walked in like, who in the world, click, click, is in my house? And she was walking in with holding it up like this, walking in slowly and looking around. And she ended up seeing Alexis lighting up the candle in the kitchen. And like, come and sit down, baby. I had, made something for us. Like, Alexis, what are you doing in here? I thought I told you it was over. And they were like, yeah, but I want to make it up to you. And I have a big, special apology to you. An apology for you. She's like, well, it better be a good apology, because it ain't going to be easy for you to get, to win me back. And That's when Alexis, before they had started eating dinner, well, after they ate dinner, because Sylvania wanted to go ahead and eat the food. She liked TV dinners too, but she mostly liked cooked food. Like, she was raised up, to know how to cook. Her mom raised her up to know how to cook. And, they ate silently. Alexis was looking over at her, and he was chewing, like, "You like the food, baby?" And she'll, like, "Boy, please, this is just a TV dinner. What do you think?" I mean, if I'm, like, really hungry, then yeah, I like it. But I'm not really that hungry that I'm going to go ahead and eat it, 'cause I don't like to waste food. And after they ate, Alexis had got on his knees right in front of her and pulled it out, the ring. The ring that he had found in the tub. Like, "You remember this?" And then she was like, "Of course I do. That's the ring that I wore on my finger." And he was like, "Well, I want to put it back on your finger. I love you, Sylvania. I want to continue to be with you. I don't want this marriage to be over. I would not know how to, live out here without you. Like, I really need you in my life." Like, he was just going on and on and on. And Sylvania ended up giving in. And she was like, "Okay." And she ended up holding out her hand like this. He slipping the ring on her finger. They kissed very passionately. And that's basically the end of, that first episode of, I would consider this the second episode of Tar Mama, because the first episode I told about their childhood and stuff. This is about their adulthood life, and this is like the second episode, and this like takes place in Guermison County. Guermison, Michigan, and Guermison County and Merlin. Merlin County and Guermison, Michigan. It's a fake area, I made up fictional area. I would say it's about similar to Detroit, Michigan, and da. I like to make up fictional cities and stuff. Even though Michigan is a real place, Guermison is not. But yeah, it takes place in Guermison, Michigan in the early 80s. 1981 is like one of like the earlier episodes. It's from 1981 to like 1985. But I'm starting it off in the early 80s. And this will be the end of this episode. And if you made it to the end, thank you so much. Hope you like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you haven't. I hope you all have a great day. Thank you to all the supporters, and for the new subscribers or new faces, I see you. Welcome. This is Willa Candy's channel. I'm Willa Candy, aka Patrica, and if God's will, I'll be making more videos. Please stay safe out there. Please love one another. Treat everyone with respect. Please drive safely and everything, and have a great day at work, etc. God bless you all, and goodbye.